All right, so for those of you that are joining for the first time today, my name is Alex Bornman. I am the orientation and mobility instructor for Lighthouse for the Blind of Fort Worth. I'm also a certified personal trainer with a nutrition emphasis. Today is a more fitness-focused class. We are going to do a continuation of what we did last week. To go over what we did last week, a lot of stuff was geared towards those who have some issues getting up out of their chair, so they needed to do more movements in a seated position or with support using the chair while standing. So I'm going to quickly go over those initial movements, and then we're going to move into a little bit more advanced stretching. And while we're doing that, you guys are more than welcome to use those modifications throughout the session. So to start off with, I'm in my chair, and what you're going to do is your feet are going to be firmly planted on the ground at about shoulder width apart. Your heels are going to be directly underneath your knees. And then from your knees to your hips, there's going to be about a 90-degree angle. And then from your hips all the way up to your shoulders, it should be stacked on top of each other. So it should be like your spine is right on top in a straight line. And then it goes all the way up to your neck and your head. You don't want to arch your back too much that you're leaning backwards, and you don't want to slouch forward and like kind of squeeze so your chest is together or enclosed. You want to make sure you're sitting up straight, good posture, and looking straight ahead, not tilted to one side with your head or tilted to the other. You're looking straight ahead. So what we started with last time was we just did some basic breathing, learning how to breathe through your stomach and your lungs rather than your chest. A lot of us, when we're breathing, we breathe through our chest area and let it lift up and down, which is not going to get the full effects of your breathing to get the circulation properly done. So you're going to try to breathe through your stomach, in through your nose and out through your mouth. So when you breathe in, you want to expand that stomach as big as you can, like you just ate a whole bunch of food. And then when you breathe out, you're trying to empty your entire stomach, and it's going to feel like your abdomen is squeezing really hard and really tight. So we're going to try that. In through your nose, fill up your stomach, and then breathe out, and you're going to feel those abs clench. So that breathing technique is going to be used throughout the entire session while we're stretching. The next thing that we learned last week was just trying to get everything in a straight up position. So what we did was we sat in our chair, and then we put our arms straight up in the air, and then we reached our hands all the way up towards the sky like we were reaching for a pole. Now make sure you're not looking up at your hands or down at the floor. Your head is straight ahead looking forward towards your camera or whatever, the wall in front of you. And then you're reaching your arms as high as you can, making sure that your bottom and your legs are firmly planted on the chair and your feet are fully on the floor. And we're going to breathe through that for about 5 breaths, making sure to fill up your stomach as you're breathing. And then when you're breathing out, to clench your stomach and breathe out as hard as you can while still maintaining that high stretch. And then as you bring your arms down, you're just going to let them go to the side. And then we're going to pull like you're reaching for now a pull on below your legs while still maintaining that upright posture. You're going to be reaching down below like you're reaching for the legs of your chair, pulling your shoulders down to the floor, but pushing your head towards the sky. So you're going to feel that nice stretch in between your neck and your shoulders. And we went over the muscle that's in between there. It's called your trap. That's a really tight muscle for people who are on computers a lot or in like a slouch position. So pushing those shoulders down and your hands down and pulling your head up towards the sky and breathing through that. All right. So that's the start of a stretch that we did last week. And then we also learned the next stretch. What we're going to do is we're going to place our right hand over top of our head onto our left ear. And then your left arm like it's in a sling in front of you, you're gonna place it behind your back. So your elbows bend at a 90-degree angle behind your back and in a sling position. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull your head with your right arm on your left ear away from your left side to the right. And you're gonna feel a good stretch in your neck. And you're gonna hold it and make sure you're breathing. If you want a deeper stretch, you can push that shoulder down. We also talked about moving your head at different positions in that stretch. So you can pull the back of your head down to the floor to the right. So you're getting the back of your neck stretch. And you can also kind of tilt it in a different angle, maybe at a 45-degree angle. So you're getting just different positions. And now we're going to switch sides. So make sure you release gently, not too quickly, to push that muscle back into that unstretched position. Then we're going to switch. So right arm at a 90-degree angle where it's bending at your elbow. And you're going to put it behind your back like it's in a sling. Take your left hand and you're going to put it on your right ear over top of your head. And then you're going to pull your head to the left side, feeling that nice deep stretch in your neck. And if you want to get different angles, you can pull your head down towards your knees or to the floor, and you can roll it. All right, and making sure you're breathing through all these stretches. All right, so that's a good neck stretch that you can do. And then the next thing that we did was standing up with our chair. So what I did was I stood up. The chair was in front of me and my hands are on the back of the chair. So the seat is, it goes seat, back of the chair, and then my body. My feet are at shoulder width apart, right below my hips, about I would say about 3 feet away from the back leg of the chair. And my hands are shoulder width apart on the seat of the chair, the back of the chair. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna press your chest down to the floor while pressing your backside towards behind you. So for me, it'd be towards the wall that's behind me or whatever is behind you. You're gonna push the backside back and press your chest down. Your elbows are probably going to bend, making sure to keep your spine in a straight line with your head in line with that. So as you go down as you press your chest down to the floor, your head is going to follow. So your head should almost be facing the floor at this point, and your backside is pushing back towards the wall or whatever is behind you. You should really feel a stretch in the back of your legs, into your knees and sometimes into your calf. And then we're going to come back up, breathing in and then going back down. Next, you're going to put your left leg in front, still keeping your feet at shoulder width apart, but now your left foot is about a foot ahead of your right foot. And then you're going to slightly bend that left knee so it's over top of your ankle. And then you're going to do the same thing where you're pressing your chest down and your backside towards the back wall or whatever is behind you. And you're going to go down, keeping that head facing the floor. I'm not, because I need to talk to the camera. So you can hear me, and you're going to press. This time you should feel it in your left back of your leg into your knee, and some of you, depending on what is tight on your body, you may feel it in your right leg. Making sure that both feet are still on the floor. You don't want to lift those heels up as you're stretching. Keep those heels and toes on the floor and pressing, breathing in through your stomach and out, and clenching those abdomen muscles. Then you're going to slowly bring that left leg back in line with your right. And then putting that right foot about a foot or two in front of your left foot, keeping them still shoulder width apart. And same thing, pressing down, right knee, bent so it's on top of your, so it's stacked on top of your ankle, and then you're pressing your chest down and your butt back, getting that nice stretch behind your legs into your calves, ankles flat on the floor. All right, good. So now we're going to move on to an advanced version of that stretch. So I'm going to move my chair out of the way. So for those of you that have trouble with what I talked about last week with some people have issues going upside down or putting their head below their heart if you're like reaching down to the floor, or just don't have that ability to do that. You can use that stretch rather than the one I'm about to show you. So we're gonna reach for our toes, but what you're gonna do as you're going down, you're not just gonna flop down like you're reaching for something. You're actually going to keep everything in a straight line. So your back shouldn't arch either way. So the same way that you had the chair in front of you and you were just kind of bending your arms, should be the same thing. So our spine is still in that perfect line, no arching, and we're gonna go straight down, reaching for those toes as far as you can go down. Those feet are still shoulder width apart. Those legs are completely straight. So it's gonna go ankles below the knees, knees directly below the hips. And now I'm at a 90-degree angle where my back is completely flat, like a tabletop. So if I could set up water on top of my back and it wouldn't fall. For those of you that can't go down that far, that's totally fine. Just making sure that if you are a little bit higher, your back is still at a completely flat, not arched or anything. It's just completely straight. You're gonna reach down for your toes. I can get to my toes. So if you can reach your toes, feel free to grab the bottom of your feet and pull those toes up to get a deeper stretch. If you cannot, that is totally fine. Just hold your stretch. You can also place your hands on top of your thighs, right above your knees, to hold yourself steady. And you're gonna keep breathing through that. And then slowly gonna stand up, keeping that spine in line, head in line with your spine, and standing up and taking a couple breaths. So far, I am feeling a little bit hot, sweaty, so I hope you guys are feeling a little bit of the circulation pumping through your body. Some benefits of these stretches can actually wake you up throughout the day. So if you've been sitting, it's going to help that circulation of the blood through your body so you're more awake throughout the day. I know that at work, if I've been sitting for too long, I definitely need to stand up and stretch just to keep myself awake and functioning and my brain fully working at its best. That's why a lot of us yawn, is the lack of circulation in our brain. So to help that, we're gonna keep breathing and stretching to get that circulation functioning properly. So the next thing that we're going to do is go from the chair stretch. Now we're going to move to the left foot in front of the right foot. Before I move there, does anyone have any questions? You can type in the chat or raise your hand, and we can answer any questions that you have so far. All right, looking okay. Awesome. All right, so the next stretch that we're gonna do, you're gonna stand back up, that left foot. Now for the more advanced version of the stretch that we did where our left foot was in front of our right foot at shoulder width apart. It's gonna be at almost 3 to 4 feet. And you're gonna press that right knee the same way that you did with the other one. And you're gonna stack your knee on top of your left ankle. So your left knee is directly over top of your left ankle, and your back leg, your right leg, is going to be straight with your heel and toe firmly planted on the ground, and you're going to lean forward. This is actually going to feel a little bit more burning than stretching for those that don't do a lot of lunging or squatting, because you're going to be holding this position and you're really going to feel that burning in your quad. But it's also a very good deep stretch for those calves and your hips, opening up those hips. So you're gonna hold that, breathing. If you cannot hold this position, you can always go to your chair. You can either place it, put it in the chair next to you and hold it in the back of the chair for support, or you can do it without the chair, or you can go back to the original modified version. Making sure that you're not pressing your chest out too far or arching your back too far out or slouching forward. Now we're gonna switch legs, slowly dragging that left foot back to your right, or if you can't do that, you can bring your right foot up to your left foot, whatever is easiest for you. Now I'm gonna bring my left foot behind my right foot at shoulder width apart and 3 to 4 feet in between my right heel and my left toe. I'm gonna bring that knee above, that right knee is above that right ankle on an angle, but that left foot is directly behind and it is straight. So my whole leg is straight. And we're gonna hold that position. This one, I feel less burning and a little bit more of a stretch than I did on the last one. So that could be an imbalance of my muscles. That could be that my left leg is a little bit tighter than my right. Just depends on how your body is set up or where your imbalances are in your body. So we're gonna hold that, making sure to breathe. You can use the chair as support, or you can do it where the modified version that we learned prior. All right, so we're gonna hold that, keeping your spine in line, your head looking ahead, shoulders nice and relaxed, but leaning forward. And now we're going to bring our feet back together. I'm gonna move my chair out of the way. And just to shake it out a little bit and, keep moving, we're just gonna reach down to our feet, reaching for our toes. If you can't reach for your toes, putting your hands on your quads, but I'm gonna reach for my toes and pull my toes up. Feet are still shoulder width apart. My spine is in line. My body is at like a tabletop position. My legs are straight. If you cannot reach your toes, again, you can use your quads, or you can use the back of your chair for support if you can't go that far down. All right, good. We're gonna hold that. Okay. Now we're gonna slowly come up, and we're gonna go from the start of what we did in the chair, where we put our hands directly above our head, reaching our arms straight up in the sky, like we're reaching for a bar, and we're gonna pull our body straight up, like our hands are reaching for a bar below us and our feet are firmly planted on the floor. And we're gonna reach, reach, reach. You should really feel that in your entire core, abdomen, and shoulder area. And you're reaching and breathing. Now, if at any point of this you feel lightheaded, dizzy, tired, any muscles hurting, please stop, take a break. You can come back to it at a later time, or you can just jump back in from where we are. So don't overwhelm yourself or do too much. You don't want to hurt yourself in the process. You don't need to try to keep up with what I'm doing. I stretch regularly, so my body has been doing this over time. For those of you that have not stretched often, you don't want to overdo your muscles or overstretch, because it actually can hurt you in the long run. So just be mindful of what your body's telling you throughout this session. I'm going over everything very quickly. You can do each stretch 5 or times through, which is what I recommend, not just this once every stretch only for 5 seconds each and then go to the next stretch. You want to continually to do these a couple times through to really get the most out of every single stretch. The next thing that we're going to do is, we worked on last week where we are sitting in a chair and our ankle was on top of our knee. So we're in a seated position and we put our, so let's just say I had my right ankle on top of my left knee and I was stretching my hip by pressing my right knee down. So my right leg is like I'm doing a cross over top of my left leg, where my ankle is sitting on top of my knee, and I'm stretching my hip. The other way that we're going to do this stretch is we're gonna be sitting on the floor. This is gonna get a deeper stretch. So what I'm gonna do is, if you have a wall or something that you can support your back, that's actually gonna help you keep your back and your spine in line in a straight up position and putting your head against the wall. If you don't have a wall, you can put your hands behind your back, holding your chest up straight. So what we're gonna do is you're gonna take your left leg, and mine's at a 90-degree angle, but my foot is on the floor about 1.5 feet in front of my backside, and then my right foot is going to be lifted on top of my left leg. So my ankle is sitting on top of my quad, or my top part of my leg on my thigh, right below the knee. And I'm gonna hold that position, and you're really gonna feel a deep stretch on the right side of your hip. If you're not feeling it, please say something now, write in the chat or raise your hand. It's very important to get this stretch correctly, because you could hurt your knee if you're improperly stretching. If you aren't doing it now and you're gonna do it, a later time, totally fine. Just feel free to reach out, and I can explain and try to help you figure out how to do it properly. So we're holding this, making sure our head is against the wall, our back is against the wall, and everything is straight up and down. My left foot is firmly planted on the ground, and I'm holding that stretch. If you want to get a deeper stretch, you can push your right knee away from you, and you're really going to feel that in your hip. Now, in order to let this stretch go, do not just push your leg off of your left leg. You're going to use your hands to lift your right leg off of your left, and then place it on the ground slowly. Don't just let it drop. You could throw off your body, and it's the balance that it already has, it can make it very imbalanced. So making sure you're gentle on your body. So we're gonna take now our left leg on top of our right thigh. So your left ankle is going on top of your thigh, and you should feel that stretch in your hip. If you need to, you can push your knee away from you to get a deeper stretch in your hip. Now, if you cannot do this, you can go in the chair in a seated position and bring your leg up towards bringing your left foot up towards your right knee. Even if you cannot get it on top of your leg, what we talked about is bringing that left foot up and just holding your ankle and pulling it towards you while pushing your left knee away from you. That way you can still get that stretch in without having to get that deeper and more advanced stretch on top of your leg. So you can always hold your ankle and push your knee away from you. And you're gonna hold that stretch, getting nice and deep in your hip. And then slowly, after you're done, you're going to lift your leg off of your right leg, or just slightly placing your leg down to the floor. So now we're gonna go from what we did with our toe touch. So we just did a nice deep stretch to our toes prior to the hip stretch. And we're gonna do the same thing on the floor, but now it's gonna get a little bit more into our back, mostly our lower back. So now, rather than having our feet at shoulder width apart, your feet are going to be together. The entire back part of my leg is on the floor, from all the way from my butt to the back part of my thigh to my calves and my heel. The back of my heels are all on the floor. My spine is stacked on top of each little bone that's in my spine. If you cannot hold yourself up in this position, I recommend, again, putting yourself against the wall or using your hands to hold yourself up straight. And then you're going to pull your toes towards your stomach. So you're going to just push your feet towards your stomach. You don't have to hold them. You're just curling your toes up towards your body and pulling them in. You might feel a little bit of a burn on your shins on the muscles on your shins, and a little bit of a stretch behind your knees. So this is the first part of the stretch, if you're trying to keep your spine up straight. And we're going to hold that, holding that stretch with our toes as long as you can. And then we're going to move our hands slowly. So you're going to grab the bottom part of your legs, and you're going to slide your hands all the way down your thighs, keeping your spine in line and gliding them down to below your knees, below your calves, all the way down to your ankles and to your feet. If you can only get to the bottom part of your knee, totally fine. Just hold it there. Do not overstretch or overdo it. So sliding your hands down, slowly reaching for your ankles, and then all the way to your feet. And now you should feel a stretch in your upper and lower back, possibly into your backside and your legs, and basically every part of your body at this point, even the back of your arms. And you're going to reach for your toes, still pulling your toes towards your chest and like feeling that burn in your front part of your shins. And you're going to reach as far as you can and holding that, making sure you're still breathing. You're not slouching forward too much. Your spine is still in line with your with each and every bone, and your head is in line with your spine. Don't slouch too much, trying to pull those shoulders back while reaching forward. And you can get deeper if you breathe out. You can breathe in, and then breathing out, you're going to get deeper into that stretch. All right, now we're going to slowly guide our hands back up our thighs and letting that go. Don't just let your hands go and sit straight up. It's not going to be good for your body. Could throw everything off balance. So we're going to do those last two stretches again. So we're going to bring our right foot on the floor, bending our knee at a 90-degree angle. So my foot is on the floor and my backside is on the floor. And then it should be, your knee should be bent. Wherever your foot needs to go in order to be completely flat on the ground, that's where you're going to put it. You're going to grab your left ankle and put it on top of your right leg, right below the knee onto the thigh. And you're just going to hold it there, feeling that deep stretch in your hip. And if you need to get a deeper stretch in, feel free to press your left knee towards or away from you or towards the floor. If you cannot get up this high, you can hold your left ankle and pushing your left knee down and holding the left ankle so it's pulling towards you to get that deeper hip stretch. And breathing through it, keeping your spine up straight and in line and not slouching too far forward and not arching your back too away from you too much. Now we're going to switch, so making sure that we slightly place our leg on the ground. And now picking up the right leg, holding our ankle and holding our right ankle, pressing our right knee away from us. And then you can either hold that position or place your ankle on top of your left knee and holding that. Making sure everything is in line and straight up, holding that good posture that we learned in the beginning and still using our belly breathing that we learned in the beginning. Holding that for a couple seconds. All right, and now we're gonna place our right leg back down to the floor, pushing both of our feet away from us, letting our legs extend to a flat on the floor position, pulling our toes towards our chest and our stomach. And then you're gonna either slide your hands all the way down to your feet or just down as far as you can go without pulling any muscles too much, reaching to your toes and your feet and pulling your feet towards you, keeping that spine flat along with your back and pulling it towards you while reaching ahead of you. So pulling those feet towards you, reaching those hands ahead of you, and you're gonna hold it and breathe. You should actually find it harder to breathe if you're slouched too far forward. So if you do feel some struggle breathing, making sure that your spine is flat. And you're gonna hold that. All right, and then sliding your hands back up and sitting in an upright position. You're going to bring your feet almost like a butterfly. I think a lot of us sat like this when we were children. So I went and pushed my knees away from me, but I brought my feet together. So it almost makes a square or a diamond with the back of my calves into my thighs and my feet. So it's gonna make that diamond position. And what we're gonna do is, depending on how far you can bring your feet towards your thighs, the heels of your feet towards your thighs, you're gonna pull them in as far as you can. If you can only get them in just a little bit, that's totally fine. But once you get them to the point where you feel that deep stretch in your groin area, you're going to hold your feet and then you're gonna press your knees, not with your hands or your elbows, you're just going to, with your knees, you're just gonna press them towards the floor. And you're just gonna hold that. Breathing in, keeping that posture up. So do not press your knees to the floor using your hands, making sure that you're just pressing your knees to the floor using your own strength of your legs and the weight of your legs. And then if you want to get a deeper stretch though, you can always lean forward, pulling your body towards your feet. So my chest is now going towards my feet and my knees are still pressing down towards the floor. I now can feel a deeper stretch in my groin and my lower back. Any questions so far as we're doing this stretch? If you are stretching, I'll give you like a couple seconds to sit back up and reach your computer. Or you can raise your hand, and if you're not stretching and you have a question right now, feel free to reach out. Seems like we're all good. All right, and the last thing that we're gonna do today is getting a little bit of a stretch in right near your rib cage and your lower back on either side. So we're gonna stay in this position where our legs are making a diamond. You're going to put your right hand onto your left knee. So it's going to basically hold your left knee, and then you're going to take your left arm and you're going to lean to the right side. So your arm is straight up in the air, like you're reaching for that bar again, but now we're tilting our body to the right side while still holding that left knee. Now we did this in the chair last week where we were sitting in the chair and I had you hold the one side of the chair and reach to the other side. So if you are not on the ground right now, you can be seated in your chair the same way that we were in the beginning, where our butt was on the ground, feet shoulder width apart, knees on top of your ankles, knees in line with your hips, and your spine stacked. You're going to lean to the right side while holding your chair. So I'm still bringing my left hand up towards the sky and leaning to the right, but my right arm is not holding my left leg. It is holding the chair to keep myself steady, making sure to keep your backside firm and planted on the chair so you're not tilting too far, because then you could tip your chair over or throw your body off balance. So for those of you that are on the floor, putting your right hand on your left knee and reaching to the left, making sure not to lean too far where you feel the backside come off the floor. You want to make sure that everything is still in the same position it was when you were sitting upright. Leaning, all right, and then coming back up to the center, slowly moving your body. So your left hand goes on your right knee. Your right hand goes all the way up towards the sky. I think it's reaching for a bar, and then we're leaning to the left, making sure that head is in line with your spine. Your spine is going to be at an arc to the left right now, but don't tilt your head even more. So you're pulling your body weight with your head, keeping that head still in that same position and looking ahead of you. Reaching as far as you can, like there's a bar on your far left and you're reaching for that bar with your right hand. And you should feel a nice stretch in your rib cage area and your lower back. All right, and then you're gonna come back to center. Take a couple breaths in and out, trying to reset your body after that stretching, getting all that blood flow through your veins, into your heart, into your brain, and through every single muscle and vein in the body. So that is what we learned today. That is the stretching. Not tomorrow. Next Tuesday, we're going to actually move on to some core exercises that you can do. The same way that we started off with the stretching. We're going to start off with a couple more basic modified versions of core work, some core strengthening exercises, and then the week after that we're going to move to more of the advanced stages of those core workouts. So tune in both Tuesdays and Thursdays. Thursdays are going to be nutrition focused. So those we talk about portion control, snacking, what a meal should consist of, how many ounces and cups and stuff of each food group should you eat in your daily lifestyle, how to eat well, and how to look for healthy foods in the food market, and knowing how to read nutrition labels. So that's going to be on Thursday. And then we also talk about different body types and different medical diagnosis is, wow, that was hard to say. Different of those that you can adjust your diet accordingly. So that is what we're going to be working on Thursday. So that's what Thursdays are focused on, same time at 10 a.m. And Tuesdays are going to be more fitness focused on at 10 a.m. And then tomorrow, Wednesday at 10 a.m., we have our blind support group. So for those that would like to come and join us for that, we're going to be talking about just things that we're struggling with and ways that we can get through each and every day with a blind and visual impairment. And then on Thursday after my session, there's a session with Sean for assistive technology, and that is at, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe 12 p.m., Sean?
That's correct. We're going to be working on voiceover this Thursday at noon.
Yep. And then going into Monday, the next week, you have some independent living with Kevin.
Yes.
Kevin, you want to say on Monday?
Mm-hmm. It'll be on Monday. And I'm going to be discussing some stuff related to Braille and how you can use Braille for independent living, some everyday uses for it. That'll be awesome. Monday.
And then is there anything this afternoon?
No, no, I don't believe so.
Okay, awesome. So that's what our schedule is looking like this week. Feel free to join us for any of those sessions. Just to learn about it, if you feel like you need to learn more about any of those skills for yourself or for anyone else that you feel like you need to instruct or need to help on a regular basis, you are more than welcome to join. Blind, visually impaired or not, everyone is welcome. Feel free to join. I think, Sean, you have something to say?
No, I didn't. I was just, I'm just here.
Okay. Before we end our session today, is anyone have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything along those lines? Feel free to raise your hand, or we can Doesn't look like we have anyone. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate your time. And I hope you all have a phenomenal Tuesday. Please do these stretches throughout the day to keep yourselves and your body's functioning at its finest. Stretching is really good for everyday lifestyles to keep yourself awake and alert. If we're just sitting on the couch and not doing much, it's going to make us even more lethargic and want to take naps. So just doing these stretches while you're watching TV or while you're listening to your audiobooks or playing your games, just making sure that you're stretching throughout it just to keep yourself alert and awake throughout the day. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself. I'm going to type in my email in the chat box so you can have it. So I'm going to do that right now. If you have any questions or any recommendations that you feel like you would want, I can always help you with that. In regards to O&M or any sort of fitness and nutrition related topics. So it's going to be a.bornman@lighthousefw.org. So that is how you can reach me. And anything else, you can reach out to Sean or Kevin regarding any assistive technology or independent living skills. So thank you all for joining, and we hope to see you tomorrow for our blind support group. So have a great Tuesday.